What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Courtside Financial Podcast, the podcast where we talk about business and technology. We have a specific focus on the Chinese EV market. And in today's episode, we're going to just be having a candid, open conversation about NIO, no probing, no influencing responses or anything. This is my girlfriend, Caitlin, so I want to tell her about NIO because you hear me talking about NIO all the time, right? But I don't think she really knows like the specifics, or she's probably like, why does this guy always talk about NIO? Is that what you think?
Basically.
That's what you think of me? So yeah, just want to give her the rundown on it and why I find the story so attractive. Notice how I'm saying the story, and not attractive as an investment, even though I'm fully transparent. I'm a NIO bull. I am invested in NIO. I consider myself more of a journalist. And so when I get on here and I talk about it, I talk about NIO and I also talk about the broader Chinese EV market because I think there's just an interesting story to be told there that has obviously captivated so many viewers. And I thank you guys for watching and supporting. So with that said, we're going to get into the conversation. Before we get started, babe, do you have any questions or anything that you want to say? Do you want to introduce yourself or give some context?
Sure, I'll introduce myself first. Hi, Neo family. Hi, Courtside Financial family. I'm Caitlin. I am Ovi's girlfriend. We've been friends for a very long time and now we're dating. And we have matcha, one of our favorite drinks. Cheers.
Should we do a cheers for the thumbnail?
Sure.
I don't know if this is awkward or not, but I'll chop that up. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it, guys. So why do I talk about NIO all the time, babe? What if I told you that the biggest problem when it comes to electric vehicles has pretty much been solved?
That's interesting to me. The last problem that I was aware of pertaining EVs is that the battery, I think like how to source the components for the battery is like dwindling, like there's a supply issue essentially with that. That could be a completely outdated problem
No,
by now.
that's a very, very relevant problem, but that's not what I'm kind of getting at here or alluding to.
Gotcha.
We could get to that eventually. But what I'm alluding to is charging times. And so when you buy an electric vehicle, I think you were shopping for an electric vehicle not too long ago, right?
I was.
And why didn't we get the electric vehicle?
Because personally, right now we're living in an apartment and we do not have a charging port. The apartment doesn't provide one, and so we felt that it would be unreasonable to get an EV because I'd have to go around to different superchargers and just be inconvenienced by that.
And if you were to go to a different supercharger, why would that be inconvenience? I mean, you have a car today, you have a brand new gas car that you purchased. If you were to go to an EV charger, why would that be an inconvenience for you?
Why?
Because you go to gas stations.
That's true. The charging time, the time that it takes to charge a vehicle. One time I got an EV rental car and I had to charge at a Meyer gas station. It was back in Michigan, so EV chargers were not very accessible in Michigan. There's not a huge like market for it compared to like California, for example. And I think I was in that parking lot for 3 hours and it was supposed to be a supercharger. I had to leave the car there, go grocery shop, come back. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. So I decided pretty much then that although EVs are cool, I would not get one unless charging was super convenient, super fast, and of course affordable.
And that's kind of what I was getting at here. What if I told you that instead of pulling up to a charging station and charging with the typical DC charger, you don't have to charge anymore? What if I told you that you could pull up into a battery swapping station? And so the concept with NIO is when you have a depleted battery, you can pull up to a fully automated battery swapping station, hit a button on your car. You don't even have to pull into it yourself manually. The car will pull into the battery swapping station by itself, give you a fully charged battery, and have you back on the road in 3 minutes.
That's literally amazing. Like, that's crazy.
So, as a consumer, would you say that's something that would change the paradigm for you?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the whole value proposition with NIO. They've been making that's part of it. We'll get to a lot more of this. They've been making huge investments in their battery swapping stations. They have the most battery swapping stations, not just in China, which is the world's biggest EV market, but in the world. They're sitting at over 3,000 battery swapping stations. There was a point in time when Tesla tried battery swapping a long, long time ago. They've abandoned the idea. NIO has the most patents. And so they're just first to market. They have proprietary technology. They know how to build it and they're doing it in the best way possible. But beyond charging, what else do you think could be a problem for electric vehicle owners as it pertains to the battery?
As it pertains to the battery.
And I'll give you a hint here.
Yeah.
Think about when you buy an iPhone, what happens to that over time?
Yeah, it degrades over time.
Exactly. So NIO also has an offering called Battery as a Service. We live in a subscription economy now, as you may know. Everything around us is moving towards this kind of pay by the drip type of model. And instead of owning things, people are paying monthly fees for it. Even in the context of like hardware, I work in hardware, and sell data centers,
Yeah.
IT equipment, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving from capex to opex. And so why people do that is because in the context of cars, they don't want to, or they can't make these huge lump sum payments for electric vehicle. The most expensive part of the electric vehicle is, as you may or may not imagine, the battery. Exactly. And so if we move to battery as a service, you pay for the car, the body of the car, the frame, etc. You lease the battery. That opens it up to a bigger market, a bigger consumer base. And so people are getting in for lower cost. And with that comes them no longer having to worry about battery degradation because you don't own the battery anymore. So it's no longer your liability.
Got it.
It's NIO's liability.
Got it.
And so that is another huge selling point for why would I buy a NIO? Why is NIO doing battery swapping? On that tune to that note as well, if you buy, let's say you go buy a Tesla, you bought a Tesla in 2022. What year is it right now? 2025.
Yep.
So you have 2022's technology in 2025. If by the same token I bought a NIO in 2022, through battery as a service, or I purchased the battery outright for a little bit of a premium compared to battery as a service, in 2025, I can switch out the battery to the latest technology. And switching out the battery to the latest technology,
it's a huge pro.
Eliminates another issue for why people have with electric vehicles. What do you think that is?
So we're basically talking about outdated technology, right? And degraded batteries.
So even if your battery is not degraded, but you bought your battery in 2022, but now it's 2025, what problem do you think owners with this older 2022 battery have that's not yet degraded?
That's not, maybe just faster charging, like 2025.
That's part of it. That's definitely part of it. I wasn't even thinking about that in this context, but that's definitely true. What I was getting at is range anxiety. The older versions of Tesla get less range, and that means that they need to charge more frequently. And to your point, they also charge slower. Batteries, the cost is going down over time, and the technology is improving over time. So there was a time when Teslas only got I want to say 150, 200 miles. Things are now getting 350 miles plus. But if you have a version with an older battery, you're still stuck with that lower range. And so the pain point that I was getting at is range anxiety.
Is range corresponded or correlated to the battery?
Absolutely, hugely.
Oh,
It's correlated to the battery, it's correlated to the weight of the vehicle, the architecture of the vehicle as far as like
yeah,
aerodynamics and
that
stuff.
makes sense.
But highly correlated to the battery.
Oh, okay,
A
gotcha.
stronger, so think about it in the context of
Mm-hmm.
a phone.
Mm-hmm.
A newer iPhone has a better battery. You're going to get longer battery life out of it than if you have an older iPhone, even if that older iPhone is new.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
So the pro for Neo
Neo.
Neo owners with older models is what?
You're not stuck in 2022's technology. You're always
Do
able to upgrade your battery,
Mhm.
and you're always even able to upgrade your vehicle to a certain degree. There's
Mm,
just how you update your phone constantly.
mhm,
Cars are now computers on wheels.
mhm,
They are all now software defined.
I love that.
And with them being software defined, there's over the air updates. So you might have an older NIO, an older Tesla, an older whatever, but the company puts out a new patch, a new update, and they can push that update to your car just how you update your phone. And so you're with Neo, you're entirely future proofed. It's not just that they're updating the operating system. You know, Tesla's releasing things like full self-driving, different versions of it over time as it gets better and better. It's really iterative. Um, on the other hand of that, you're also able to get the newest battery. And if you are in battery as a service, you don't have to pay for that battery because you don't have to buy the latest battery because you already have battery as a service, which is a monthly fee to Neo. And so you get access to the latest battery under that subscription fee.
Got it. So it's a software update with Neo rather than a hardware update?
Hardware and software because the battery would be considered hardware,
Hardware.
but software, yes,
Okay.
definitely.
So on an older model Neo,
Yeah.
thank God I didn't say neon. On an older model Neo, you're the first person who's ever told me about Neo. I'm so behind on the times, but
Hmm.
on an older model Neo, all you have to do is get a battery or a software and a hardware update.
Yes, and the software update is an entitlement. Apple doesn't charge you to update your iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Neo's not going to charge you to update your car. This is all
Got
done
it.
over the air, which just basically means you're connected to the network and you're pulling stuff down from like the cloud.
Got it. So Neo allows you to update the software and the hardware even on older models.
Yes. Update the hardware is limited to the battery, but yes.
Right. And does anyone else do that? Like, does Tesla do that?
No.
So it's a huge plus for.
Yes. 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 I can buy a Neo from when they first created battery swapping Neos, and years and years and years can pass,
Mhm.
but I'm still able to put the latest and greatest battery in my Neo, which is huge.
How long has Neo been producing vehicles?
Neo's been around for over a decade. I want to say 2014. I'm forgetting. Let me look this up though, just to make sure. 2014,
2014.
I was right. Oh yeah, Neo's been around for almost 10 years now.
I wonder if their Generation 1 vehicles are battery swapping eligible,
Their
or are those
their
vehicles
first
obsolete?
generation vehicles?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, look. Neo battery swap. You'll probably see like the first ES8. I mean, when you say Gen 1, you're not talking about
First,
like something that was mass produced.
I'm talking about the vehicles like if
That were sold to actually sold to consumers, right?
yes, that's what I
Yes,
mean.
they are. This is an old Neo. This is the old ES8.
Hmm.
This is the new ES8. We're on third generation. Neo ES8 third generation. This is what it looks like now.
Okay, so the old ES8 is that battery swapping eligible?
Yes, it's battery swapping in the picture right here.
Oh, okay,
See?
nice. So no limitations for consumers there.
Mm-mm.
That's nice.
Great company.
Who's NIO's biggest competitor in China?
There's so many Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers coming out of the woodworks every day.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point in time where it was just like Tesla and NIO.
Mm-hmm.
But now competition is just, there's a lot of competition.
Mm-hmm.
But NIO's biggest competition, there's something called Li.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Chinese, NIO is Li.
Relay, got it.
And then the Zhao part of Ling is Xiaopeng,
Mm-hmm.
which is Xpeng.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Li
Oh.
part is Li Auto. So
Mm-hmm.
those were like the China's three new energy vehicle companies. And they're kind of the three that go head and head to head in China. So there's NIO, Xpeng, Li Auto.
Got it.
So I guess you could say that.
Xpeng and Li Auto and the third one, are they all related? Are they like kind of like branches of each other, or they're separate
They're separate
companies?
NIO, Li Auto, Xpeng. These are all the CEOs. I've done so many videos on the three of them.
Oh, okay.
Xpeng, Li Auto, NIO. Yeah. This is the NIO CEO in the middle. Xpeng, Li Auto.
I'm sure you already covered this, but what are the competitive advantages between the three? We've heard about NIO.
They've got different focus areas. NIO is kind of going all in on this infrastructure ecosystem. If you build it, it will come. Is kind of like they will come as their type of ideology. Let's solve the issues that consumers have with electric vehicles, which kind of circle around charging.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of NIO's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's build more battery swapping stations. That will be very valuable for our consumers. Let's put a huge focus on lifestyle and the consumer and kind of create a community around our products, around our brand.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that'll pay dividends in the future. And I equate that oftentimes to kind of like the Amazon story. Amazon, you know how they do delivery trucks?
Mm-hmm.
They were spending money hand over fist on those delivery trucks, losing lots and lots and lots and lots of money. Now Amazon, if they're not already, I haven't been keeping up with this, is on track to become a bigger delivery or courier service
Mm-hmm.
than the US Post Office.
Why?
Because they've made the investments in the infrastructure, their delivery trucks.
So they're just very efficient.
Yes.
Got it.
And at the time when they were spending all that money on infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
people were saying Amazon's wasting money. They shouldn't be doing this. It's not the right idea.
Mm-hmm.
But now Amazon's going to be bigger than UPS, bigger than FedEx, bigger than the US Post Office. So that's kind of NIO's thing. Let's build out the battery swapping stations. Let's worry about the infrastructure first. Once we get the infrastructure built out, people are going to have to buy from us because we make it more convenient than anybody else. Xpeng's whole thing is a focus on technology. They're kind of pivoting to like an AI company, but they have really good autonomous driving technology. They're doing the whole robotaxi thing like Waymo now, humanoid robots. Like this is Xpeng's doing stuff like this. It's very much so a tech company, and they've got big pockets behind them with Volkswagen backing. Show you their robotaxi. They just unveiled this like a few days ago. Their robotaxis and their robots. Li Auto's thing is they have actually had plenty of quarters of profitability, and they've had quarters of profitability because instead of going fully pure electric, meaning that the car is only going to run on electricity, they kind of took a different approach. They said, let's start with hybrid, and now they're just now getting into fully pure electric vehicles. But they started with hybrid, and at first the infrastructure wasn't really there. So people wanting to avoid that big pain point that we talked about in the episode that we just filmed, range anxiety, they bought the hybrid vehicles. because hey, if I can't find a place to charge, I can put gas in my car. And that's how they got so much traction. But the days of range extended vehicles, that's like hybrid, that takes gas and electricity, those seem to be dwindling and it seems to be going back to pure electric, at least in the Chinese EV market right now. And so NIO has actually outsold more than their capacities for their newest release, which is the third generation ES8. They sold 40,000 units, I think, within 10 hours of launch.
Why?
And that's the, people just really, there's high demand for the car. People just really wanted it.
Is that because of the convenience of the new battery swapping options and battery leasing options?
No, because everything does this. Every one of the cars in their portfolio does this, and they have a pretty expansive lineup, I would say, for a company like this.
So they have a strong following?
Yeah, I would just say this was just a really popular car, and it was a fan favorite, and it was a hit. And so they sold out their capacity. And so if you go and buy one of these cars today, you're not getting one until April 2026.
Oh, okay. It's not too far away.
And so they're even taking, how do I say this? The batteries that they're supposed to put inside of their battery swapping stations as they continue to expand the infrastructure moat, putting more and more battery swapping stations out there. They're literally putting a pause on some of their battery swapping stations to be able to manufacture these cars quicker. So they're circumventing the batteries from their battery swapping stations to the new ES8 so that they can fulfill us customer orders quicker.
So their production operations are a little bit behind, or they're just
exactly. They're a little bit behind because there's so much, they're supply constrained, and that's one of the better problems to have in business. It means your stuff's flying off the shelves so fast that you got to make more because it's selling so fast.
So is it, got it, this might be a little in the weeds, but is there a production issue or is there a supply issue?
There's a production issue.
Like an internal supply issue.
There's a production issue. There's always supply issues in this type of thing. But if you look at a company like BYD, they're not supply constrained. They have the capacity to produce a ton of cars, and they are. NIO doesn't have the same manufacturing capacity as like a BYD or like a Tesla.
Okay.
They're a smaller company.
Oh, got it.
And so they're scaling, which is good. And even bigger companies like Xiaomi, you know, the TV that I have in our room, Xiaomi TV.
Yes.
The Mi TV. They make cars now too. And they are having the same issue. People are not getting any of these cars that they order from Xiaomi today until next year. They don't have them available. I think people have to wait, what is it, 6 to 7 months if they order a Xiaomi SU7, YU7.
It's gotta be annoying.
These are flying off the shelves too. They're doing really good. But
That's cool.
Now we're making too many. We just put a 10-minute video in this video. All right.
Got it.
Another huge advantage for NIO is this kind of bifurcation that's happening in the mobility market right now. There is huge competition as far as autonomous driving, the passenger car market for consumers, and then there's the robotaxi market that's unfolding in front of our face.
What's that like?
We've been in Waymo before.
Oh, yeah.
They have Waymo out here. It's a Google-owned company. Google bought Waymo. Now Waymo is a subsidiary. NVIDIA, you know what NVIDIA is?
Yep.
Technology company. They make all the chips for like AI and data centers, even cars. And so their CEO, I just did a video about this. I think my last video, actually, their CEO said the robotaxi, basically he said it's time for robotaxis, and like the mobility market is shifting entirely. And so you have competition on all front. You have NVIDIA teaming up with Uber, and Mercedes-Benz, etc., to get into that market. You have Tesla doing their own thing. They're launching their robotaxi market. They're kind of getting away from cars, doing humanoid robots and AI and things of that such. You have a company in China called Xpeng who just had their AI day a couple of days ago. They announced and unveiled their robotaxi. Pony AI in China, NIO's invested in them through NIO Capital. And so how do we make I'm getting ahead of myself, but how do we make full self-driving perfect for the everyday consumer, the guy who just buys a Tesla and wants to put his car on autopilot, the person who just buys a NIO and wants to put their car on autopilot, and how do we win on the commercial side, which is robo taxis and ride hailing, and kind of be disruptive to the model of ride hailing as we know it today, Uber, Lyft, whatever else is out there. And what you have to think about that is powering these vehicles. Mm-hmm. And so if I have to take my, let's say, Waymo, because this actually happens in real life, my Waymo to a charging depot, mm-hmm. I have to hire staff at that charging depot. They have to physically grab the charger, pretend it's just like a gasoline pump, and put it into the Waymo, make sure that the Waymo is charging. Mm-hmm. The Waymo sits there for hours. Every hour that Waymo is not on the road, that's money that they could have been making.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you commercialize something like battery swapping, now the taxis, we don't have to hire staff anymore. This is all fully automated. The taxis can go into the battery swapping depot on their own and swap out for a fully charged brand new battery in literally 3 minutes, and that cab gets back on the road and it starts making more money.
Yep.
So we haven't quite reached that point yet where this is really commercialized and mainstream, but we're getting there, and that's why that's one of the reasons why this technology would be like very viable.
Has it been deployed already with NIO?
Battery swapping for like taxis?
No, battery swapping for NIO customers.
Yes, and I'm forgetting the statistic, but in China, majority of NIO customers, and I think it's a crazy statistic. Somebody comment down below. I forgot because I covered this a while ago, and I covered so many things that I can't remember every single statistic, but I think it's like 70 or 80% of NIO customers, or 90% maybe even, are battery swapping, but I think it was like 80% or so are choosing battery as a service with their NIO purchase. And that means that they are buying the car and paying a subscription fee to NIO for the battery, for the rights to their batteries in their battery swapping network.
So is that the same as leasing the battery? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I guess from that perspective, like, what do you think about that? Do you feel like battery swapping could be like the way for the commercial business, like the quickest way to get like cars back on the road? Versus charging, hiring staff? That's a huge expense to the business and the bottom line.
Yeah, of course. So question, obviously battery swapping is hugely convenient, but is it offered at a premium or an affordable cost for customers?
Battery swapping right now is at a premium to charging, mm-hmm. but when you think about it that's going to come down with scale, mm-hmm. right? They only got like 3,000-ish plus battery swap stations in China right now, which is a lot. They have the most. But when you reach economies of scale, the costs start to come down, and that trickles down to consumers.
Got it.
But when you think about it from a convenience standpoint, when you've got to get to work and you've got to, get to your kid's soccer game. Yeah. Yeah, it's a small price to pay as well. For the same reason people pay for, like, let's say, Clear or TSA pre-check at the airport. Mm-hmm. People don't want to wait in lines anymore. And so I just think that battery swapping is a huge thing. There is supercharging with Teslas, but that's not comparable. The reason why that's not comparable is because I think I mentioned this a little bit. I don't know if you remember, but when we were about to buy your car, supercharging is not meant to happen every single day.
Right.
When you're charging a battery super fast, pumping all that electricity into the battery super fast, that speeds up degradation. Yep. Supercharge, you're mostly supposed to slowly charge your phone, mm-hmm. at home. or your car, excuse me, at home. And supercharging is more of a thing. Like, let's say we're going on a long road trip and I want to charge really quickly, or I'm trying to make it home and I'm running out of gas and I need to go like supercharge. That's more of like the use case of supercharging. It's not supposed to be like a regular thing. Um, so from that perspective, battery swapping is very clean. You can swap your battery out. You're not causing any harm to your property.
Question. Um, Leasing the battery as a service versus battery swapping at a station, is that the same thing or two different services?
Those are two different things. Yeah, so if you buy a NIO battery, you own that battery.
Yes.
And if you go and swap it, like whatever battery's in your car, there's a battery that you're entitled to.
Got it. And they do that at the NIO new stations.
Yes.
Okay, got it. That's where you get the battery swap.
Yes.
If you pay for that service.
Yes. And there's also this sort of cloud IQ thing going on at these battery swapping stations, which basically just means monitoring. So electric vehicles, when you think of vehicle fires,
Mhm.
they are kind of the ones that make headlines for vehicle fires.
Yes. Yeah. Vehicle fires, you mean actual fire.
Yeah, like actual fires. Like one of NIO's competitors, Li Auto, and this was not related to the battery at all, but like there have been electric vehicle fires related to battery. But I'm using Li Auto as an example because they recently had a fire that I talked about on the channel. Li Auto recently had a fire with their electric vehicle. When you go to the battery swapping stations, there's this kind of cloud IQ thing where it's running analytics on every single battery in the battery swapping station, monitoring like battery health, battery capacity, and just ensuring that no battery that doesn't meet quality standards is going to be put in a consumer's car.
Yeah.
So that's another key selling point of just the battery swapping stations as well. Also, the battery swapping stations are they're a critical node in the energy ecosystem. They're becoming a critical node in the energy ecosystem. And what that means is that they're not just there to swap batteries in cars. They're also there to regulate the grid. With that being said, do you know about like grid regulation?
I don't. I haven't heard of that before. I haven't heard of that term before.
So when it comes to grid regulation, just think about off-peak and on-peak hours as far as electricity.
Got it. Understood.
Yes. So when you do your laundry at nighttime right now, if we do like laundry, what time is it? I don't know if everyone's doing like laundry at 9 p.m. on a Friday. People are probably out and about. But let's say like Monday through Thursday at like 7 p.m. when everyone gets off work, that's when they're running the dishwasher. That's when they might be turning on their electric stove. That's when they've got the TV on. They might be watching football, basketball, doing all types of things that are just putting a little bit of drag on the grid, the thing where the energy comes from.
Got it.
That's an on-peak hour. And so kind of like when you're taking an Uber, at certain times it's going to cost more because of the surge. And so it's the same concept here. On peak hours, they're going to charge you more for electricity. These battery swapping stations, they're also energy storage stations. So the batteries are kind of doing like smart regulation. They charge all the batteries at the station during off-peak hours.
All the batteries at the station during off-peak hours. Okay.
And that's done autonomously.
Okay, so how does that benefit the customers? How does that benefit the station?
So let's talk about how that benefits the corporation. Let's talk about how that benefits NIO.
Okay.
NIO has to report to shareholders quarterly. They are a publicly traded company. And so with that, it's a huge priority, especially at the company level right now, just to keep their expenses low and monitor them. So if I'm paying for electricity when people are not using it, you're right. You're just going in the other direction with it, but you're right. If I'm paying for electricity during off-peak hours when people are not using it, It's a lot cheaper for me as a company to buy that electricity. So
Mhm.
I can buy that electricity during off-peak hours, and I can hold on to that electricity. And there's something called vehicle to grid. Have you heard about that?
No.
It's the concept of basically selling energy back to the grid. So it's this kind of arbitrage.
Oh, you've told me about that
hmm
recently.
I think when we were coming back from tennis, I was playing it, just listening to something about that in the car. So you can buy this energy cheap and sell it back to the grid high. I can buy this energy during off-peak hours, and during on-peak hours when people are requesting it,
Yeah.
I can sell it back to the grid.
How do you, so if you're a NIO charging station
Yeah,
and you have, I don't know, let's say 75 batteries
sure.
to charge that need more juice,
hmm
um, it's now an off-peak hour. You
Yeah.
charge your batteries, and then let's say you, I don't know, you purchased more more energy than you needed, or you have a surplus somehow of energy. How do you go about that?
Um, so that I would have to get more into.
Are
I
you
haven't gotten too much into the weeds on like if they're running into like having surplus of energy. Somebody comment
okay?
down below if you know, but I don't think they're running into that. I think the battery swapping stations, they're fully capable of holding on to all of the energy that they're requesting.
So, under what circumstance would you sell it back to the grid?
You sell it back to the grid to make a profit. So like let's say
Under
I
what
just think about it
circumstance?
like a at whenever you want. Like even vehicle owners, like even a NIO owner, NIO does vehicle to grid. They have a couple of vehicle to grid charging stations.
Mm-hmm.
I can use my car as a power bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I can charge my car during off-peak hours, and then I can go to a charging station that has, I think it's called bi-directional charging,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the energy can come into my vehicle or it
Mm-hmm.
can come out of my vehicle.
Okay, I got it. And that's
So
where you'd go to sell it.
yeah, it's just like buying a stock. I buy low, I sell high, and I
Oh,
choose when I do that.
now I understand.
hmm
So I don't know exactly the specifics, but let's say I paid, I don't know, $1 to charge my Neo vehicle.
Sure.
That's not probably not possible,
We're
but
just for simple numbers.
yeah. If I did that during an off-peak hour, then let's say it's 7 a.m., kids are going to school, folks are off to work, etc. I go to the bi-directional charging station, and then now it's like $12.
Yeah, that's the concept.
Got it. And would I sell battery or charge incrementally, like 10% of my battery for $12, for
I would
example,
assume so.
or
You wouldn't entirely deplete your
my
because you
energy?
gotta drive around. So
Got
yeah,
it.
however much you're willing to sell, and I'm sure there's some kind of checks and balances in place that won't let you deplete your car too much just for safety purposes.
Okay. That's
But
interesting.
yeah, battery swap stations are a lot more than just charging. They're a lot more than just like swapping out a battery and putting it into a new car. It has a lot to do with grid regulation as well.
Okay.
And that's what makes it very valuable as well because China actually has a lot of issues with grid regulations during like certain seasons and stuff, especially when you think about it in terms of like clean energy and stuff.
Hmm.
There's solar, there's
Nuclear.
yeah, there's energy that comes from like water as
Hmm.
well.
Wind.
Yeah, there's wind. The problem with that stuff is it's so dependent on certain seasons and certain times in the day.
I guess that doesn't apply to nuclear, but
Oh yeah, not nuclear. Certain seasons and certain times in the day. So if we can get smarter about when we request this energy, we can make a profit off of it. And that's the whole concept of like grid regulation and why I feel like NEO is becoming like a critical node in the energy storage ecosystem. And if you think about like Warren Buffett,
mhm,
he bought one of NEO's competitors called BYD,
mhm,
who is the biggest electric vehicle manufacturer in the world,
mhm,
and he made good coin on it, but he sold out of that position because he does not believe that the money is in cars anymore.
mhm,
And so that's why NEO has this whole unit called NEO Power, And so aside from just being an electric vehicle company, they're also a power company.
That makes sense.
They're a technology company. And Tesla's actually seemingly trying to exit the let's just sell cars and make money game as well. Warren Buffett said the car game is not the money game. Who else is doing that? Xpeng, I talked about this earlier this week. They're a Chinese company, and they're kind of getting into what they're kind of replicating Tesla. They're doing robotaxis. Tesla's doing robotaxis. They're doing humanoid robots. Tesla's doing humanoid robots, and it's like these companies have to figure out how can they attach themselves to different technologies to start making money. And so far, it seems like NIO's moat is the energy storage business, the battery swapping stations, etc. Things of that such so far.
Yeah, that's really cool and a very nice pivot for NIO and these other technology companies also.
So, based off everything we talked about today, do you feel like you know more about NIO?
So much more.
You know so much more about NIO. Are you bullish on NIO? Are you like does that make you excited about the company?
It does.
Or does that make you bearish?
No, that makes me bullish.
Okay. Now, I want to, before we wrap up, I want to show you a video of a battery swap so you can really see what happens.
Okay.
There's a lot to talk about with NIO, but I think battery swapping is the most. Battery swap, NIO, they have a sub-brand called Envo, another sub-brand called Firefly that they just launched, which are both doing really well. But let me show you a battery swap. I want to get you a good video so you can, so you can really take it in. And then after the video, I'm going to query you for your feedback. I'm going to ask you for your feedback. Okay. And then we'll wrap up.
Getting a loan to pay off debt makes no sense.
YouTube
I used to
ads.
think that too.
YouTube ads. Okay, here's the battery swap. Hold on, actually, let me start this over. All right, ready, set, go. This is a ES6 pulling into the battery swap station. I'll put it up on the screen. This is from Inside EV, so I like that. See how it's pulling into the swapping station on its own? Yeah, he's not touching the wheel at all.
Does NIO have an autonomous feature?
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
Navigate on pilot. It's pretty good from what I've heard from people. It's like Tesla. Tesla has FSD, NIO has NLP. Navigate on pilot, full self-driving. Tesla's a little more further ahead, but not in China because all these things work off of aggregating data from the roads, and Tesla doesn't have that much data from the roads in China. For political reasons, the Chinese government doesn't want them like grabbing data, and that's why it's like NIO's having challenges coming here because of geopolitical tensions as well.
Power swap is about to start. During this time,
Is that no me?
That's no me. Yeah.
This is normal. Do not open any door, shift gears, or press brake pedal.
No me's in English.
Yeah. Seems like. I wonder what country this is in. That's going to remove the battery. three minutes. They say 3 minutes to swap to a new battery. Inside EVs is saying 5 minutes. So 3 minutes is really probably just Kool-Aid. Marketing Kool-Aid.
5 minutes is not that bad though.
Not bad. You spent 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes at a gas station, right?
Definitely. And this is for a full charge, the battery swapping?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a battery with 80% because you're not supposed to charge all the way up. That actually causes battery degradation.
How are the NIO at-home chargers?
They're really good. They're just like Tesla chargers. Same chargers too. Same technology. They might have different and features. Different ports. You drank your matcha.
But I'm still yawning.
Really?
It's 9
Good
p.m.
mind.
Seems really cool.
And you don't have to do anything.
And no technicians.
A gas station, you have to get out of the car, put your hands on something that so many people have touched, which people are really weary about after COVID. So I just think, this is the future.
This is really cool.
And I put my money where my mouth is.
This is really cool. Currently, are they running into any regulatory issues?
Oh yeah.
To either enhance these
the battery swapping stations. Sure, they're highly regulated, but yeah, every EV company has to navigate regulatory tape in so many different arenas, so many different facets.
How is the NIO CEO? Does he have a relationship with the president?
That's a good question. I have not seen William Li meet with the president. Maybe I'm ignorant to something, but I know that the Chinese government has put a lot of money inside of NIO. They even bailed them out. Let me cut this off.
Was NIO ever at risk of becoming bankrupt?
Yes. That's how I made a lot of money in NIO.
Okay.
This was 2020, 2021 days.
Mm-hmm.
NIO was actually had one of the best returns in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the best return in the electric vehicle space at a certain point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was up 900% or so. But yeah, since then NIO's been on a decline.
Really?
Decline. Yeah, but now they're finally bouncing back. Momentum. They're gaining momentum, and I do personally. This is not investment advice. This is just what I think for myself. I'm not a financial advisor. I know they're gonna retest all-time highs. That's how I feel. I could be right. I could be wrong. On this channel, I'm more interested in just following the story, seeing what's going on, and opening up the dialogue for people to discuss about certain things. Mm-hmm. But based off of all of that, would you buy a NIO if they came to the U.S. market?
Would I buy a NIO or would I invest in them?
Both. How about both?
Yes, I do think they're investable, and I think it's worth it considering market trends in general in power and EVs and technology. And then would I buy a NIO? I think it's a fantastic product, an amazing product, but I'm not so sure about the price, the cost.
Oh, they're a premium product. I guess what we were just looking at, if the ES8 was in America, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just spitballing, thinking I would say it'd probably be $65,000, $70,000 to get an ES8 in America, considering tariffs and this isn't their home country, etc., etc. When you look at a NIO, you're thinking of Mercedes-Benz, you're thinking of Audi, you're thinking of as far as class, they're in the
Mhm.
premium space, and they're
Okay.
trying to. Their mission is to take market share from the traditional OEMs who are losing market share.
Got it.
They're growing every year. Those companies are declining every single year.
Really?
Yes, BMW, and I like a BMW. I like Mercedes Benz. They're losing market share. We talk about this on the channel. All you have to do is really just look at the news, read stock reports, read anything, and you'll see quarterly reports, etc. You'll see that they're losing money, and you'll see that the industry, the paradigm is shifting. People want smarter cars with more technology in it. They don't want gas cars because that is eventually going to become obsolete. When, that's the question that everybody wants to know the answer to. But they haven't been making the investment in electric vehicles as aggressively as a Tesla, as aggressively as a Li Auto, as aggressively as an Xpeng, as aggressively as these other companies. And so NIO has far better technology when it comes to electric vehicles than Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz just had to buy some vehicle tech or license some vehicle technology from ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company.
Mhm.
And there was speculation for a very long time that they were going to do a deal with NIO to get NIO's technology.
Mhm.
Volkswagen's technology was so obsolete that they
Mhm.
had to partner with a Chinese company called Xpeng.
Mhm.
And so they partnered with Xpeng, and they're using Xpeng's technology, and it's great for Xpeng because the electric vehicle market, the automobile market is just capital intensive on its own. You talk about electric vehicle market, that's a beast. You have to continuously invest in research and development. You have to stay ahead of the curve. It's like running like a computer company for like
Mhm.
your car.
Yeah.
And so the trade-off with Volkswagen is, hey, we have deep pockets. We put this money in Xpeng. We get access to your technology that you've been investing in for a very long time. That's really good. And you guys get the capital to keep on making the moves that you want to make and survive in this cutthroat market. And so, with that being said, just like the legacy companies, at the same time, even if they were to make those investments, those huge, massive investments in electric vehicles, they'd be cannibalizing their existing customer base who is already buying like gas vehicles. So if we flip the switch too aggressively, too quickly, we're going to alienate these people and we're going to turn them off to try and start building something new. So it has to be done really strategically, and that's the pickle that companies like Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, etc. Volvo find themselves in. But yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot to talk about here. But would you buy a Neo though?
I really like the
If the price
direction that
price out of
NIO
it,
is going,
price
especially
point
with
out of it.
especially building a lifestyle brand as well.
Yeah, they've
Um,
done some high fashion collabs too.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think you showed me a video where it was showing like a Neo clubhouse or something like
Neo
that.
House.
It was like a socializing sort of space, a social space where you
Yeah.
could bring your children, and there's a whole community, a Neo community, and I think that's really cool. I'd really like to learn more about that. And yeah, I think I mean, lifestyle sells
Mm-hmm.
and anything aspirational sells as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're making a lot of really great waves in that regard. Would I buy a Neo regardless of price? Well, I'd have to get in it first.
Okay. I know that that's how you are. You like to see, you want to feel things, you want to
Yeah.
understand before you pull the trigger on stuff like that, which is reasonable. And they've got something for everybody. If it's not a Neo, there's the Envo.
Mm-hmm.
That's their sub brand that's more catered to the mass market,
Mm-hmm.
where they have the Envo L60 that competes with the Tesla Model Y, but it's a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And still has a lot of Neo's bells and whistles, a lot of its technology. But I think we will bring this video to a conclusion. I think we definitely had some good dialogue, so thank you, babe, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Sounds good.
I have my people
Sounds
talk
good.
to your people. We finished our matchas. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Courtside Financial. If you guys found this episode entertaining, interesting, valuable in any type of way, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell icon, and leave a comment down below. Happy Friday. Hope everybody has a good weekend. This is Obi, and this is
Ethan.
and we'll see you in the next installment. Bye.